I have to, or it's just a habit. It's not much of an answer. Waste of an arrow.
Welcome to The Walking Dead Cast, a podcast dedicated to the show, The Walking Dead. Hey everybody, welcome to our podcast. I'm Jason.
And I'm Karen.
This is The Walking Dead Cast, episode 45, and happy Halloween!
Ooh, spooky. Happy Halloween, everybody. Did you grab your candy?
Yeah, we have some candy.
By the way, nice costume.
I don't have a costume on.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So before we get started, I actually prepared a little song during the Halloween, and also in honor of what might be coming up on the show now that they're on the farm. You want to hear it?
Yes, yes, I do.
Here it is.
On McDonald has a farm, E-I-E-I-O. On this farm, it has Walking Dead, E-I-E-I-O. McDonald has a farm, E-I-E-I-O.
So that's
Oh, that was great.
that's Chad contributed like 80% of that. So
Is that Chad on the Holy Cow?
yeah, I ate McDonald's and then I went over to my friend Chad McDonald's. And made
Saying
it.
about Farmer McDonald? Oh,
So there you go.
good.
You're welcome, everybody.
Happy Halloween.
Okay, so let's get right into
Let's do it.
the business of the day.
Let's do it.
Attention shoppers, Deadcast top 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2. Before we get started, I thought it was about time that we openly talk about something that happened in the comic, but not the show, that I think pretty much everybody knows about at this point. And we've been prefacing it with a spoiler, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of tired of doing that. So you know what I'm talking about?
So you're going to not preface it by spoiler?
Yeah,
Okay.
this is not a spoiler. It's just, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know by now, but I think you're going to have to just trust me that our show will be better if we can talk about this openly. But I'm kidding. No, just kidding. So Shane, he died in the comic.
that?
Issue 6.
Yeah.
Early on.
Right.
So now the writers of the show, one of whom is the writer and creator of the comic arc, are having fun seeing what would happen if Shane was still around.
Right.
So,
right. And yeah, that's a good point, and really germane to this episode. Shaney.
Yeah.
Shane heavy.
Yeah, so what'd you think?
I give it a solid 4.5 brains out of 5.
That's pretty good.
It is. You know what? I actually, about halfway through the episode, I was thinking 3 brains, 3.5
Yeah,
brains.
yeah.
I liked it a lot better when I was done
Yeah.
watching it.
What would have given it that last half a brain?
What would have taken more Glenn?
Oh,
More Glenn. Did you ever see more Glenn? And I
You know what? I really liked it a lot, and then at the end, the twist at the end,
Yeah.
I was just blown away. Suddenly, I'm like, yeah, I like this episode. And I saw that happen. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yep, exactly.
So good.
Exactly. Oh, and the other half brain would be if we could be extras on.
I would get 10 brain.
Then that would, yes, exactly.
I think this was a great episode. Okay, let's just
Let's get right into it.
I'm going to go first time.
Fine.
That's fine. So the number 5 highlight for this episode is the hanging zombie scene with Andrea and Daryl.
Yep.
I just thought it was a really good scene. It was kind of funny, light, but also deep.
Yeah.
I mean, it reminded me a bit of when Rick wanted to go back and finish off Bicycle Girl out of Mercy. Andrea wanted to get rid of this guy out of Mercy, and Daryl thought it would be a waste of an arrow. But he said something interesting. He's like, he deserved that fate because he chose to opt out. So it was like a judgment against him.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of complex things going on in the scene.
Oh, a lot.
And then Andrea, he asks her if she wants to live, and she's not sure.
yeah.
It's just very complex but well done, good writing. And then at the very end, she says, an arrow for an answer.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. And then she goes, I don't really know. And he's like, he tells him, he's like, that was a waste of an arrow. But it was a waste of an arrow because he didn't want to waste on the zombie, but also he wasn't happy with the answer. So I don't know, I just really like the writing in the scene.
I did too. And actually, I thought her answer was pretty profound. Her answer wasn't just, I don't know if I want to live. It was, I don't know if I want to live. Is it just a habit?
Yeah.
And this is actually my number 4. So I'm just going to use my number 5. I love learning more about her inner conflict with living in a zombie world. I mean, at first I was dismissing it. Of course you want to live. How can you not want to live? That's ridiculous. But really, Robert Kirkman puts these characters through a lot.
Oh yeah, no, it's not a given.
It's not a given. At first I was thinking it was, and now I'm like, I'm kind of understanding it.
Yes.
Right now it's really hard for them to envision a world where things are getting better. And there are lots of existential questions in this episode, a lot of them. And I mean, look at even Maggie and Glenn. They're just sitting on the porch. It's an evening, and you think, okay, start life. No. The question before them is there God?
Yeah, and I was thinking on probably my most unsuccessful date ever, first date, we talked about religion. So it's a good sign for these guys that they can do that and still seem like each other.
Yeah, there you go. All I do is talk about politics now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was my number 5 was the scene with Andrea. I loved it.
Yeah, and she says, I don't know if I want to live or if I have to, if it's just a habit, which made me think, I think she's now decided that she does want to live, but she's not sure why. Which is kind of a step up from where she was before.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't seem completely pointless, but she's fishing
still,
around for an answer.
not sure why she made that choice.
I agree.
And I like the zombie poem, which goes like this.
Stop it. Fever hit. Will gone to shit. Might as well quit. Dumbass didn't know enough to shoot himself in the head.
Do you remember what the second part of that line was? The second part of the line was, Dennis didn't even know enough to shoot himself in the head. Now he's a big swinging piece of bait. Ew.
Yeah.
And his legs have been gnawed on.
It's interesting because Daryl, he thinks that he's got disdain for this guy because he opted out. And see, Daryl, he's an interesting character. He's been more like, come on, you gotta keep going. You gotta hope that what's your name is alive, Sophia. I went through a lot of crap when I was a kid and I made it out fine. So why are you guys all whining? That's kind of his attitude,
Yeah,
so it's a bit
exactly.
judgmental. Like he doesn't even want to put this guy out of his misery because he has disdain for him. But on the other hand, he's kind of the most hopeful. He's like, yeah, just keep on going. Life is tough.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what you gotta
And we
do.
learned in this episode that life for him has been
Yeah.
really tough. And so this is just more the
He
same.
wipes his butt with poison oak.
God, that's gotta be bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
My really quick one of my friends was on a hike with his wife, and he handled some poison oak twigs, and he didn't know it, and he went to pee and got poison all over his
Oh,
junk.
God.
Yeah, and he was too shy to tell the doctor because it was a female doctor. He poisoned all over his junk. He went to the doctor.
I
Yeah.
get poison just by being in the area. I don't even have to touch it.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine? Anyway.
Okay, what's your number 4?
Okay, my
Or 5.
my-
Four.
let's
No,
go
it's my turn.
Oh, yeah.
You just did number 5.
Yeah,
Okay, so my number 4 is Glenn and Maggie interaction. I was waiting to see how it would go because in the should I say? Yeah, I'll just say.
say
In
it.
the comic, she comes up to him and says, basically, hey, I'll fuck you.
Pretty much,
Yeah, pretty much. And that was interesting, but I kind of liked in the show how it was very subtle. You could tell they were interested in each other, but they played it very subtle. I mean, Stephen Young in particular, he was very good at being kind of awkwardly smitten.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, nice to see you again. We met before, remember?
me back there
with the
horse.
horse. And then later they're asking why Merle was taking antibiotics, and he's like, the clap, and he's looking at venereal disease. And he's just kind of fumbling around. But he also doesn't totally lose his dignity because later on when she catches him on the porch, she's like, why are you always sneaking up on people? And then later he's trying to pray, and she's saying, and he goes, you gonna watch? So he's putting up a little bit of a spine there.
Yeah,
And then he even becomes helpful later when he's like having her sort of confront who she's lost because by putting her on the fridge. Yeah, and that was kind of his way of helping.
Yeah.
So I just like their interaction. They did good. And I thought Lauren Cohan, she's really good. And I think she's gonna make a good addition to the cast.
I agree. I'm looking forward to their romance.
Yeah, and I think that once she really figures out sees what kind of guy Glenn is, that she's really gonna fall hard for him.
Like I hope.
Exactly, maybe not that far.
Maybe not that far. Still like honey. Oh, where were we? Okay, number 4. My number 4 was Rick and Lori. I kind of mentioned how this episode was full of big existential questions, and one of the big ones was when they were outside and Rick and Lori were talking. And Rick mentions that Carl talked about the deer right before he went into convulsions. He talked about the deer and it was so beautiful, and Rick uses that to as proof that the world is still beautiful enough for them to live in. And Lori had all kinds of questions. Is this the world we want our child to live in? He'd be kind of saying it's just let him go. Huge philosophical questions in this episode.
But they make sense.
But they make sense. And Rick was saying, no, in the midst of all this, he couldn't. He saw the beauty of this beautiful deer. Of course, it was right before he had the gun to kill the beautiful deer. But that's
No, he didn't get a gun.
he didn't get a gun.
No.
Oh, he just
Yeah,
taking in the
very
preview.
close to it, yeah.
Oh, it's so nice. Okay, well, Good.
Yeah, it was just about having a sublime experience.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was really sweet. And later on, I think that may have swayed Lori when she had Jude.
And it could have been also that he was okay.
Yeah, yeah, well, yeah. Okay. Come on.
Yeah, no, I wanted to die. Let's see. Okay, well, my number 3 is, I think I've had this on my list since we started this season, but it's still scary. I'm just so happy that they're making it scarier than
Yeah,
last season.
yeah.
I think one reason why is they've had a lot of scenes with zombies in the dark, and I think that's inherently scarier. Zombies
Yes,
at night.
yes, true.
But they're having more where they make you jump. I don't know if they did that in the first season, but like when Shane was hanging out of the window to get out of high school and it's quiet, and all of a sudden, rah!
Right,
or Otis and Shane are walking near the fence, and all of a sudden, like 30 zombies are just there. Rah! They're sneaky.
Or when Shane shoots Otis.
Well, yeah, I guess that was surprising, but I'm talking about like horror movie scary.
Right.
And all the scenes I thought with Otis and Shane at the school were really good.
Yes.
And like the FEMA zombies stumbling up the bleachers towards Shane,
Right.
and all that stuff. So it just played really well. I think they're making a conscious effort to pay attention to how scary it is more this year.
I agree. And actually, my number 3 is kind of along the same lines. I like all high school scenes. Loved them. Very, very tense, very suspenseful. The only thing I would like to add is that I hope they do lighten it up a little. This is only the 3rd episode, but so far it's been really unbelievably tense and scary and suspenseful and dark and heavy the whole time. They're not having any fun. No, not at all. But I would like to, how in Lost they had Hurley propose the golf game, or like the drama band, he's like, dude, I need this.
Even in Dawn of the Dead, they did that thing where they were putting up drawings of, or they'd say Burt Reynolds,
Yes.
and then you have to check out
Right.
Burt
They came out of it. Yeah, yeah. There were some light moments in that. They did it together.
Yes,
There were
yeah.
some light moments in that. They've got it at some point. Let attention up a
The
little
thing
bit.
is, I think the first 3 episodes have been just like, well, they've been like a couple days.
Yes.
But the last episode was just like a few hours, I think. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need some of that. I bet you they'll have something like that.
So that was my number 3.
Okay.
What's your number 2?
Well, it's something you've been kind of mentioning, just the existential nature of the episode. There's a few things. Lauren arguing about whether there's even a point to going on living, and she says maybe this isn't a world for children anymore. Andrea confused about whether she or why she wants to live. Glenn and Maggie talking about whether there's a God. And I thought it was interesting that right now when there's like, you might think that there's no God because of the zombie apocalypse and everything, that's when Glenn decides to pray for the first time ever, which sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
That's when you start thinking about God and stuff like this happens. And then even Shane deciding that it makes sense to sacrifice Otis. And I think it's pretty clear that he did that thinking this will help save Carl.
Absolutely.
So deciding who should live and who should die and who's more important and stuff like that.
Right.
These are all, and for some reason, I found that this episode wrestled with these questions in a more intelligent way than the show has before. But I don't really know if that's true or why. It seemed more well done.
Yeah, I agree. It's very helpful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Well, just one last thing that Robert Kirkman, he wanted to see what would happen if the zombie movie kept on going. That's why he did the comic, and the show really felt like, okay, if you keep on going, these are the kind of things that are going to start coming up. They're all going to question whether they should go on or what,
Yeah, exactly. Or do you end up like Tent Guy swinging and being Jackie's bait?
Or Jackie, or
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Okay, my number 2 is more and more. I'm loving Daryl. I just love him. I love the scene at the tent with Andrea. The whole, the arrow for your thoughts. That's fantastic. They're giving him the best lines. So all my things about the poison. I can't wait. I just love his character, and so far, he's the one who lightens the mood a little bit. So that was my number 2.
yeah, totally. I mentioned before, I'm liking this character too, but I don't want him to become a caricature. Or last time somebody mentioned that they thought he was racist, and I didn't agree. But that's not because I don't think that would be good. I think it would be really interesting to have people be racist, in the show, and see how that would play out.
Right.
So, but they're playing him like a lovable, brooding hero, which can be good. But I just I don't know. There's something that bugs me about it, that I want to be a real person, not this guy who decided he wanted to play a hero or something.
Oh, he's flawed. He's deeply flawed.
He is.
Oh, yeah, he's hard-headed among people. He's real quickly. I mean, nobody like him.
Yeah, because they left his brother in town and he was mad.
Right.
Yeah, there's nothing flawed about that.
Well,
Right.
that's true, but he didn't come off as the most likable guy. He's
I don't know. I mean, he's done. Well, what's he done? I mean, a couple he didn't have reverence for the bodies that Glenn wanted to bury the non-zombies in a special place. But I don't really know anything else that he's done that didn't seem reasonable to me.
He's eating woodchuck.
He's a backcountry boy. Seriously, like I don't know. Yeah. At first, he was very irritable, but it was understandable because he found out his brother was left in town. If I found that out, I'd be pissed too.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe not if it was Merle, but
Merle needs his clap meds. What's he gonna do with those clap meds?
okay, that's true. He's probably suffering. He was out there, one-handed bastard. Okay,
Number 1.
what's next? Oh, it's my turn. My favorite thing was probably the same thing as yours, which is the very last scene with Shane murdering Otis. I just thought it was awesome. Did you see it coming?
No.
Me neither. You know what? I was watching it again because I was watching twice, and one thing that they did that I think was really clever, at least is what I got, is he's shaving his head and he sees a mark on his head, and I thought it was probably a zombie bite. Did you think that?
I did.
Yeah, and so then you're thinking, then they start showing what happened, and you think, oh, Shane got bit. So that's where your mind goes. Shane got bit. Now we're gonna see how Shane gets bit, and
That's
what's the show
what
gonna be like
and-
with him? He's gonna turn into a zombie, right?
That's what
Yeah, and next thing you know, he shoots Otis.
Right,
So,
right.
whoa! I was in bed
Yeah.
watching this, trying to be quiet with my iPad, and Jenny sleeps next to me, and it happened. Oh my god! It was just great. I felt like I could go sleep after that.
Can I ask you, why do you think he shone in the light?
But that was very stupid, and I think it was, if you want to rationalize it, it was because he was in a really tense situation and wasn't thinking. And as a police officer, he aims for people's legs. You don't aim for the head. They're trained to aim
So
to
just-
incapacitate somebody,
yeah.
right? So that could be reasonable. But I think for a story point, it was more dramatic to see Otis going, as he was eaten by the zombies.
Right. And Shane tried to pull that pack of supplies off his back. And
You totally should have shot him in
You should have.
the head.
That would have been the logical thing to do. But I am promising myself to calm my internet picker.
No, I want you to nitpick, by the way, because you can all just be all, oh, it was awesome.
Well, you know what though, it's easy for me as a viewer to criticize all their decisions to make and to sort of pick apart all the tiny little choices that they make. As long I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to say as long as I buy the big picture logic of what they're doing, I should probably because you don't know how you react. Maybe you would fall back on being a cop, which is to try to incapacitate the mission on me. I don't know. Like tiny mistakes can usually
Also,
complain.
when you're in a situation like that, you don't always think clearly either.
You know what? I gotta say, I come up with a million little things. Like, A positive, only A positive blood, second blood type. I'm A positive, parents have A positive, somebody else has to have A positive. Why is Rick doing it? I could go on and on and that kind of stuff.
Okay, and then there's, I think we're going to read emails later, but why do they have electricity?
Yeah, why do they have the porch light on?
But
Hello,
all of that,
somebody
none of
is
that stuff to me is, oh, that's wrong. It's all like, nobody has a positive blood, or knows for sure that
Yeah,
they do.
yeah.
Not everyone knows their blood type.
Nobody
There's only a few people there. Yeah, I know because I get blood sometimes, but before I did that, I didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know you were
and then not very many people get blood. And
People
they
get-
must have electricity somehow. I don't think they would put that in without thinking about it, but they just don't endorse with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so obviously something that is an issue, in the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I trust that they've got a generator or something like that.
Right. I mean, and why didn't they park closer? Why didn't they come up with a plan?
Park closer to what, the school?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, were they going to their own van or whatever?
Yeah, they're going back to
they probably
their-
didn't want to rile up the zombies.
True, but then
driving in.
true. That's probably true. You don't want to rile up the zombies, but you also don't want to park so far away that if you have to make a quick escape, you can't. I mean, they had no escape plan. They
Yeah, and they didn't really have much of an escape plan. But what are you going to do? What would the plan be?
Well, they could have figured all kinds of clever things.
They
I
didn't
don't
get the
know.
writers on the show.
Right, exactly. Come on, people.
Yeah, that was a bit weak, I thought, but it didn't seem like I don't know what I would do. I'd probably park far away, try to sneak in. You know what I
That's
mean?
probably true. And I mean, Glenn would sneak into Atlanta all the time.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's a team of zombies. There's all kinds of things you can do. And Shane was part of the whole. Wasn't Shane part? Oh no, he wasn't. He didn't go to Atlanta that time.
But what do you think? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if there was something obvious that we were thinking, oh, why didn't you do this? Then I
Right.
would more agree with that.
Right.
But we can't think of anything. We're not very smart, so
No.
So that's no excuse for them. I'm not thinking of it, something clever. I just wanted to mention also about this point of Shane. I love it too, even more because up until now, this season I've been thinking, what was with Shane? I mean, last season he was a flawed character. He like when they were at camp and half the camp was off in Atlanta getting supplies and they didn't come back. And Amy was like, my sister's there. We need to go after them. He wouldn't let anybody.
Right.
You're thinking, he's got these questions questionable decision making skills, but this season he's been pretty effective for the most part. He's helping out. He's he's kind of bristling with Lloyd, but otherwise he's doing really well. And now he did this. I'm like, yes, that's the Shane that we know and love. He does these things that make us question whether he's evil or not.
Right. Well, did you watch, by the way, The Talking Dead after? So I actually watched it, and the poll question was, would you have tried to make it back to the van with Otis, or would you have done what Shane did and tried to shoot Otis? And so what would you have done?
I think I would have probably gotten killed trying to get Otis back.
Yeah.
And then
I think
Carl would
I would have
die.
been,
Well, what did they say? How many answered?
I didn't see that.
The poll was on AMCTV.com, and 62% said they would try to save Otis. So 37% said they'd kill Otis.
37% bad people.
No, because that's another reason why I like this. It is debatable.
It is, absolutely.
This isn't a really smart email by Grace that I'm going to read later, but it's during right now that Shane actually said earlier on, you go on and I'll sacrifice myself. He offered to let Otis go.
Did he?
Yeah, and Otis said no. Right. So for Shane, it wasn't about surviving. It was about doing whatever it took to save Carl.
To save
right. So
Carl,
that's what he's trying to do. And I think in that moment he decided, look, if we both try to go, we're both going to die. So I'm going to have to sacrifice you so the zombies will swarm on you. And like
And I'm going to do it really, really poorly.
big horse in Atlanta. But now he's shaving his head. It's like a military kind of thing. I think his whole perspective on the situation is changing. It's like a wartime thing. The rules are different now.
rules are different.
He's going to be cold and ruthless when necessary.
Yeah.
And in some interviews and things, like Kirkman has kind of hinted that this is going to change how Shane is for the show now.
I'll
And
bet
stuff like that.
it would for anybody.
Yeah,
It's still a game changer.
And then one final thing, sorry, is that I'm glad that they killed Otis because I like Otis. I think that guy's a great actor. I didn't want to see him leave the show, and I think it's great when they are brave enough to do this kind of thing on the show.
Anybody's up.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think, I agree completely.
I have notes, but do you want to say about the?
I do. One other thing. So I watched The Talking Dead thing. And
I would say you have like a
well,
disdainful look on your face because you think we should be doing that show.
I think we do a better job.
Yes, really?
I do. Is that bad to say? But I mean, they really had two guests on. They had John Heer, Napoleon Dynamite, and they had Felicia Day from Dr. Horrible's Single
Oh
Pod.
yeah. Geek Queen.
I guess.
Yeah, she does an internet TV show about playing World of Warcraft or something.
Oh, no kidding. All right, well, that gives her a little more credit. But, John Heer?
Yeah, I like comedians.
They had Robert Kirkman last week.
Grace says it's not very good last night.
No, it wasn't very good. They had Robert Kirkman last week, and he said something I thought was interesting. He says in his opinion, and he's canon, so whatever, it's Robert Kirkman's world, and we're just watching it. He said that zombies aren't getting any nutritional value from human brains. That they do it sort of because they're sort of programmed that way.
Yeah,
That brains
makes
and human flesh don't actually
Nourish them.
They're not flourishing, growing humans. They are something
Decaying
else.
and rotting.
Decaying and rotting.
Entirely.
So yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Me too.
That's about it. Oh, and producers of The Walking Dead, more Glenn, please. More Glenn.
Okay, I have a few more notes. If I was Carol, I think by this time I'd be trying to prepare myself that my daughter is probably dead.
Yeah.
Not because she necessarily is, but personally I would just be like, okay, what am I going to do if she's dead? Maybe she is. You know what I mean?
What is she even looking for? I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
everybody else is like, okay,
Yeah.
we're gonna hit.
She's like,
I'll
oh,
save
here's a
her.
gun. Oh, I could never fire a gun. When Dale handles it, it's like, why don't you learn?
Yeah,
That's true. I never thought
yeah.
about that. The title
Let's go.
was called Save the Last One, which is a little misleading because on hearing that, most people might think of saving your last bullet for yourself in case you're in no win situation. But nope, Shane was saving it for Otis.
Save the last one. Next
Yep.
year.
Let's see. The very first scene when Shane was shaving his head, it was like a flash forward. He had this really intense look on his face. I thought he was overacting until we figured out why.
Yes,
Like,
exactly.
oh,
Oh,
why?
that would
That's-
inspire that.
Probably always look like that when he shaves. Although you never know. Then I like the juxtaposition of Rick telling the old high school story about Shane stealing the principal's car and then showing him running away from zombies in high school.
Right.
Although I didn't really get why they told that story to make him seem like a bad boy.
Or maybe he and Rick go way back.
Yeah.
They have a long history.
I thought Chandler did another good job this episode as Carl.
Excellent convulsions.
And speaking of convulsions, I think John Bernthal moves around a lot when he acts. He's like this. He knows that.
He did the zombie shamble music in the
That's true.
He had a domesticated ankle, and he did a whole little zombie shamble. It's awesome.
I think it's slightly annoying that the show has a Carl and a Carol and a Dale and a Daryl. and
diversify your names.
yes,
Thank
and
you.
I really, Cornelius. Let me suggest that next year. I hope Andrea comes around and apologizes to Dale. I think she has a point that you took a weird choice, but once she decides that she's glad she's alive, I think that's a good case for her to come and apologize.
Yeah, exactly. She will.
You think so?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
As soon as the writers let up on them for 5 minutes.
All right, shall we move on?
Yes, let's do
Okay, let's move on to news about The Walking Dead. They have announced that The Walking Dead has been renewed for a 3rd season. Yay! You know that?
No, that's excellent.
Cool,
news.
huh?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm happy
not
because
surprised.
now, we'll for sure get to see some of the things in the comic that we're excited about seeing.
Well done, AMC. Well done. And why not, man? They're getting crazy viewership.
Yeah, they're setting records for a cable show, and so they might as well.
If they had no brains, all their brains been dissolved by zombies, eaten by zombies,
Yeah,
and
well,
okay.
it is sort of like that because it's like 7 million viewers, and they're like, renew. Want more money. Some fun story notes from AMCTV.com for not this episode, but last week's. Director Ernest Dickerson got his start photographing medical procedures in college.
Ew.
Yeah.
Ew.
A vet school grad is likely to have more surgery training than a med school grad.
I believe that.
Yeah, so you might actually want a vet more than you want my wife. As a pathologist.
I love your wife.
Me too.
She's awesome.
Co-executive producer Greg Nicotero says flashbacks are a reminder of what the world used to be, what their lives were like before. Makes their current predicament even more sad. And I totally didn't think about that, but it did have a huge impact because when you see the world as it used to be, it's like a huge contrast. You know?
Yeah.
Whoa,
It does
sad.
make. Oh, yeah. It so sucks.
Yeah, it sucks now.
On
Change the
the other hand, less paperwork.
channel. Right. Woo. Okay, Glenn Nazar, showrunner, he says anything can go wrong at any minute. For the show to be scary, you need to be convinced that the zombies are winning. I just like that quote because it shows that he's focused on making it scary. He's thinking about how to make it scary.
And it's true. You do get the sense at this point the zombies are winning.
Yes.
They're
They're pretty fast.
They're fast and they're picking them off.
They're
Man.
angry. They're aggro.
They're just eating things like habit. This is what nourish you. Stop it, zombies. Bad zombies.
Yeah, it's pointless. When he needs intense emotion in a scene, Chandler Riggs, who's Carl, thinks of his dog dying.
Oh, little method actor.
Yeah, I didn't know trouble like that. Interesting. Hunters accidentally shoot more than 1,000 people in the U.S. and Canada every year.
Really?
That's what it says on AMCTV.com.
People wear bright orange hats and bright orange vests. I can't stress this enough.
Targets. Karen
No.
is evil racist.
Wait, what is that in reference to?
I don't know. I think she just decided to put it. FEMA is the Federal Emergency Management Agency. They respond to earthquakes, hurricanes, and zombie apocalypses. Okay, the rest of the news is minor spoilers, so be warned. This is from an interview at culturalmob.com with Norman Reedus, who plays Daryl. The whole season is on a farm, he says. So that's a spoiler. They build a barn that looks magical, and the location is so pretty, and there's nothing around it. The deal with the location in the story is that it has natural barriers. There's swampland, and there's only so many ways that a zombie can make its way in. But if you see one, you can see it coming from way far away. So and Herschel's family's kind of doing fine without us, and then we come in and screw shit up. So that kind of was interesting to me because I wondered, like, why hasn't this farm had more of a zombie problem? And it's because apparently there's swamp all around it or something.
Oh, that makes sense. And events that Glenn remembered close.
Yeah. Okay, this is from an interview with Kirkman on EntertainmentWeekly.com. I just picked out the ones I thought were kind of funny or interesting. They say it was quite possibly the least heroic act I've ever seen a theoretically heroic character commit, talking about what Shane did. He goes, I mean, it ends up being a somewhat justifiable homicide in that they were trapped. Otis was slowing him down, and Carl's life hangs in the balance. It's The Walking Dead, and we're just seeing that gray area, and we're really pushing the boundaries of that. But at the end of the day, Shane shot that guy and left him for dead and ran off. It was a pretty dark moment, and it informed Shane's character and sets up a lot of things that are going to be happening moving forward. They say one of my colleagues said that she thought it was partly a revenge killing because Otis had accidentally shot Carl. The worrying thing is that she said she also thought Shane's actions were completely reasonable because of that. He says, I've been writing The Walking Dead, if you count the comic books, for coming up on 9 years now, and I'm constantly made uncomfortable by the things I learned about human nature from people that read the comic and watch the shows. So welcome to my world and finding out that your colleague thinks revenge killing is totally fine.
Yep. Yeah.
I read the latest sometimes, and there are people saying some pretty stupid things out there.
Good lord. I think Galen Hurd was on the Talking Dead thing last night. Briefly.
Yeah.
She seemed to think that Shane's actions were perfectly justified.
Oh yeah, she's
a coworker first.
She's cold.
Yeah,
She's got cold eyes. They say, can you confirm Otis is definitely dead? He says, that guy got torn apart. They say, well, we didn't see him getting quite full Captain Rosen Day the Dead choke on treatment. What that means, he says, were you to come back, I believe he would be discolored and shambling.
He would definitely be discolored and shambling. I was thinking that too. And he didn't get a good headshot, did he? Did Shane get a good headshot on him?
To Otis? No, he only shot him in the leg. That's it. But the zombies were ripping him apart. He's
Doesn't
dead.
matter. He'll come back. Yes.
Yeah, maybe he'll
Unless
that's
he's
cool, man. I hope they do.
They
We haven't really
come back.
seen well, we have with him, I guess. Yeah. Hope he does come back.
It's revenge. Revenge.
Let's take a little break.
All right, let's do it.
We'll be back in just a minute. Stay with us.
From McDonald, E-I-E-I-O. On this one, it has been dead. E-I-E-I-O. Here, E-I-E-I-O.
All right, back and it's time for listener moans, groans, and grunts. So a bunch of emails today. This one is from Ken. He says, I loved last night's episode right up to the point where I found it deeply disturbing. Every action we saw the survivors making was completely altruistic, whether it was hunting for Sophia or trying to save Carl or Dale worrying about Andrea. It was humanity at its finest in a black and white world. Then Shane goes and does what he did, and bang, everything gets transformed into shades of gray. I just like the way you put that, so I want to read it.
Nice, Ken. Yeah, that's right. It is not a black and white world at
No,
this point.
which is good. We don't want that.
Yeah, great, more fun. This next email is from Andy. From a biological standpoint, wouldn't it make sense for the zombies to get smarter over time? Following the law of natural selection, I think we would see the more lackluster zombies killed first, and the zombies with a slightly higher grade of intelligence stay back and survive. Now, of course, there isn't zombie reproduction. Well, at least we don't think there is.
Never have I thought about that before.
Ew.
It's very disturbing.
So we wouldn't see the passing on of these smarter genes. Stop that. So we wouldn't see the passing on of these smarter genes, but there would be a larger and larger collection of slightly more with it zombies. Wow, Andy, interesting.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And it's probably what happened. You get zombies that were naturally good at not, shambling off cliffs. They would be the ones that would stay around. On the other hand, maybe they're not consistent. Maybe they don't learn. Maybe some zombies are really stupid sometimes and smart others, and there's no rhyme or reason to it because we really don't know if these creatures act like normal animals whose instinct is for survival. So it could be.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Okay. Next from Justin. In episode 2, when the vet was describing the zombie apocalypse as nature resetting itself, I thought of natural forest fires. The fire kills overgrowth of plant and animal, and that causes new beautiful growth. But in the case of the zombie apocalypse, I can't see any natural cure. Everything, or eventually, the zombies are going to win, right? Yeah, I think that's true, and it doesn't really necessarily apply because the zombies are just unstoppable unless they all die out. Maybe after a while they just kind of fall over.
I think so.
Yeah.
After a while, there's not any more humans eaten.
Yeah.
Except that, as Kirkman pointed out, they don't need zombies to stay alive. Or they don't need humans to stay alive.
But do they rot eventually to the point where they can't move?
They die boredom. I've been sitting in this church for months.
There's something else I wanted to say about that. Nature. Oh yeah, I kind of was a little dismissive about Herschel saying that, like, we were having this conversation about Herschel saying that
It's a correction.
Yeah, nature correction. And he was talking about, I think, like, things like AIDS when he said that.
Yeah,
I was like, yeah, AIDS is great. It just things out hurt. That's a little disturbing.
It is.
About
I know.
it.
When he
Yeah.
said it, I was like, what are you saying? Are you saying
I mean, it is a phenomenon in nature, but his attitude is a little creepy.
And I think there's a cure. At least a green flag.
Justin goes on. I think that T-Dog is turning into a geek. Daryl threw a geek body on T-Dog when he was bleeding all over with a massive open wound. Dale did feel his forehead and say how hot it felt. Just an idea. What do you think? I think that'd be cool if that was happening.
They play, as we mentioned before, they play fast and loose with bodily fluid. Sometimes they take care with not getting crap on them, and then other times they're like, oh, whatever, you need to bleed in me.
So you don't think he is?
No, I think he's got a massive infection from being uncoordinated and falling onto a car and cutting himself.
I have a feeling he's not, but I kind of wish he was because it'd be fun to see what happened.
Sexy email from Jonathan in Charlotte, North Carolina. The cicada noise, yeah, here in the summer, especially during the hottest days towards evening, that is all you hear. They're especially loud, and I absolutely love the sound. That's just reminds me of home. Keep it good, guys. So maybe last week I was saying the cicada noise wasn't even maybe you said it. Somebody said it had the when they're walking around, it had the cicada noise. Yeah, I love that sound too. It's nice to know that doesn't drive you bananas because that might drive you bananas. We can let it and then it'd be just background noise.
Yeah.
Like the ocean.
Yep. This is from Matthew. That noise you thought was a cicada is actually a locust, but they are related.
Shut
we
up.
hear those a lot out here on the East Coast during the summer. Love the show. Keep it up. So Matthew and Jonathan, I'm going to give you guys each other's email addresses.
You can find it
I
out.
was going to go on YouTube and find some cicada noises and locust noises and play them.
You gotta find
next week.
Yes.
No, because I want to know.
Yeah, which is it? Cicada or locust? Cicada or locust?
Cicadas got it. Next.
It's next we have a lot this week.
Yeah.
Wow, next one's from Newt. Going back to the first episode of season 2, I also thought it weird, like other folks, that there was a hanging crucifix in a Baptist church. A bit sloppy for my new favorite TV show. Wow, you know what? I gotta tell you, Newt.
You're Jewish. Next, no. He's right. And I think they just decided, oh well, it'll be more dramatic to see a bleeding Jesus, so who cares if it's sacrilegious.
I had no idea that you don't see a hanging crucifix in a Baptist church. But thank you for educating us.
Next, Rick in Panama City says, whatever magic the show had, it's headed for life support faster than Carl. Zombie soap operas are never going to win the day in the genre, in my opinion. The only people missing in this episode were Dr. Phil and Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, those two zombies could have played themselves for some comic relief. If it wasn't for the hillbilly, none of the characters with the current writing talent would be quote writing talent would be recognizable from season 1. God, that sucked.
Wow.
3 exclamation points.
Rick in Panama City.
So there's a clip of a zombie made for TV movie for sci-fi. It's being Rames, and it's a zombie attacking, just going around. Like one girl has a sword and he has a machete, and it was just a minute long. I was watching it, and it was like an action movie, zombie movie, and it just made me realize that The Walking Dead is the zombie show that I want to see because, and we should talk about this more back when it first started. It is important for us to care about the characters and the arcs for it to be a good show, at least to me. Some people just want to see people kicking zombie ass,
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
but this isn't that show, and I'd rather see this kind of show as long as they do well.
Me too. Me too.
So Rick, maybe you're watching the wrong show.
Yeah, exactly. But hey, thanks for
Yeah, but keep listening to our podcast.
Love you, Rick.
Yeah.
This is from Forrest. Okay, I love this week's episode, but I have to nitpick on one point. How is the farmhouse getting electricity? Oh, I know. Is it a giant generator? I understand the writers don't want to drag the story down into the weeds every week, but the fact that this secluded farmhouse inexplicably has electricity is sort of a big deal. I don't notice any solar panels on the house, nor did I see evidence of a wind turbine in the backyard. In the after scenes, there was no background noise of a gas driven generator. Absolutely true. And then inside the house, Shane facilitates his transition to evil Shane with electric razor that appeared to be a plugging model. And Otis's wife brings over a lamp to illuminate Carl's surgery. The house is probably getting its water from an electricity driven well. I don't remember if there's an explanation in the comic book. I really hope we get an explanation on the show sometime soon. If there is still a power plant operating somewhere, that would be a big deal.
We already kind of talked about this. I think there is an explanation, and they just don't want to bother going into it because it's not part of the story.
Hydroelectric power?
I think there's got to be a generator somewhere.
There has to be a generator. And it's in some sort of noise muffling box.
Well, yeah, which would be.
It's a blue box.
It could be yards away out in the cornfield. It would be good for them. Zombies, treadmill, turbine equals electricity from JC.
It's all in a box.
That would be pretty funny.
Awesome. That is so great. Mr. Blog says lazy writing.
No, I
Or-
don't agree with that.
he says
No.
They're burning zombies like
cool.
coal.
Oh, no, fire, Jed. I really don't think it's lazy writing. I just think because that would suck if they just forgot. Oh yeah, there's no electricity. They can't possibly.
At least turn the freaking porch off.
Yeah.
Second, if Shane was intent on consigning Otis to the zombie infested void, why not just tap him in the head in order to avoid the dangerous struggle?
Yeah.
The zombies would still stop eating him while Shane limped off in the night. I would still stop to eat him while Shane limped off in the night. I would also have liked to see the camera pull upward to show a circle of zombies munching on Otis far below, just like they did with the horse in episode 1. Finally, I think the Hangman Zombies home deserves an honorable mention in your haiku competition. If we already give it a shout out. We loved it.
Okay, this one is from Gracie Lou, who says, I know a lot of people think Shane's motivation was purely selfish and solely a method of getting back Lori's good graces, and that the quote murder was even premeditated. But I don't think this is the case. I thought it was pretty clear that they both weren't getting out of there alive. I also fully believe that Shane was willing to sacrifice himself in order to save Carl if he thought Otis could get the medical supplies back to the farm. When Shane fell, he told Otis to take the At this point, I think Shane felt like he was the only man that could get the job done, chose the needs of the many over the needs of the few, as Dale put it, and shot Otis. I by no means feel that Otis deserves to die, especially in that brutal of a manner. He was a good man, but this is a new world with new rules, and I can understand the motivation behind Shane's decision, even if I probably wouldn't have made the same choice in that situation. I'm sure I would have been zombie lunch. Yeah, Shane has rock hard abs. No,
And that would have been a zombie dinner.
yes, late night snack.
Late night snack.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, in fact, I didn't even notice, or I forgot that he did offer to sacrifice himself. So that makes it very obvious. That he was just trying to save Carl.
Yep.
So it made me think, because when I first saw that, him shoot him, I was like, oh, what an evil bastard. You know, but I love it. It's another reason I love it. It's just something it's debatable. You think back and go, oh, maybe it was right, maybe probably not, but it's at least something to think about.
Yep.
So let's stop thinking about it. And move on to what's next.
Comic
Talk. Okay. This is the comic talk section where we talk about comic how the shows similar and different, and if you don't want to hear potential spoilers, you should skip to the next chapter. What? Otis did not have rock abs.
No, I did not have her. She must be Ava's go.
Did I say Otis? I missed the shade. Oh, yeah, Otis, yeah, that's true. Nice and doughy.
Yum.
Okay, what did you have stuff for this? How about the comic?
I tried.
What you been doing?
No, I looked at the comic. I looked at my giant, really unbelievably heavy compendium, and I couldn't. I lived in there at the farm.
Yeah.
And there's Herschel, and Herschel just saved Carl. I honestly didn't see many similarities.
Similarities. Well, mine's kind of a stretch, but well, the one like obvious similarity is that Maggie and Glenn seem to have taken a liking to one another.
Yep.
And except in the comic, as I said, she just said that. And here she's just kind of like,
That's
hey,
taking a shine somewhere.
also, Carl's innocence is a theme that's important in the comic. He starts off childlike, and as the comic goes along, he gets darker and darker. He's very disturbing little kid now.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Not even like past where you read. He's asking these really effed up questions about to Rick. It's like, oh my god,
We should
what is
live
this character gonna do? But yeah, I think the show hopefully will take that same path as I want to see how Chandler Riggs does with it. The big difference is what Otis is dead. Otis lasted like 20 more issues in the comic, and I don't think he really did that much. He was creepy and he was kind of racist, and eventually I think he was killed by zombies. So maybe they decided, well, since he didn't do that much, we'll just kill him off.
Yeah,
now.
they did.
Yeah, they totally did. Yeah. So anyway, that was a big difference. And then I have a big spoiler that I thought was really cool about issue 90 of the comic that just came out. Do you want me to say it?
Yes,
Really?
yes.
Okay. If you're in the chat room, you don't want to hear this disclosure. You're here just for like 10 seconds.
No.
But Andrea and Rick hook up. Which,
Really?
Yeah, I've been kind of expecting it over the last few issues, and it was done very well, you know. But anyway, I thought it was kind of cool. We'll see if it goes anywhere. It was on the last page.
Look at they're all saying.
No. Ew. Okay, I told spoiler.
Yeah, you did spoiler.
Okay, let's move on to next week on Walking Dead.
Next week on The Walking Dead. Okay, next week's episode is called Cherokee Rose. It's written by Evan Riley, directed by Billy Earhart. I believe that's how you pronounce his name. I'm probably messing it up. I am sorry. The description is pretty funny. Check it out. Shane makes a deadly sacrifice, which leads to unusual behavior and self-distancing. The rest of the group tries hard. The rest of the group tries to land somewhere between living to die and dying to live. That was it.
That sounds like a description for this episode because he already made that decision, the sacrifice, right? Is he gonna do another one?
That's the description after.
No, I know. Yeah, it was on there. I'm just.
It does sort of sound like the exact same. Yeah, dear producers of The Walking Dead.
I just don't want to say.
I'm
You're
available.
gonna watch the show anyway. You don't need
Living
to.
to die and dying to live. I'm available regular and so is Jason. Just saying.
Okay, that's it. All right, let's go on to a little bit about the contest. So this is I'm going to give away our last trade paperback in our Haiku contest and the season 1 DVD. And the winner of this is Mr. Don Denley, who wrote "Hoping for a Cure, Nature Will Correct Itself." That is good to know.
Ooh.
And a little, like, I'm not sure if it's evil or poignant or what, but I liked it.
I liked it. She's a great there.
Yeah, exactly. So
Don.
congratulations, Don, and just contact us at brains@walkingdead.com and let us know where to send your stuff.
Sweet.
Okay, let's close it out. Okay, that's our show, episode 45. Thanks so much, everybody, for listening. We're having a lot of fun this season.
Yeah, we sure.
Just want to let you know, no live shows for the next couple of weeks because I'm going to be on vacation, actually in South Carolina and Georgia.
Are you gonna be stalking the set?
I might try. I don't
totally
know.
do it.
Yeah, I don't know yet if it's going to work, but I'm going to try. Yeah, if I do, I'll definitely talk about it. But we're still going to attempt to do podcasting this time. Hopefully, we'll be able to figure it out.
Yeah,
I think we will.
exactly. So we're gonna do a show on through Skype.
Yeah, at the same time, but just no live thing. And then we'll be back with live shows on Monday, November 21st at 5 p.m. Pacific. So in the meantime, if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach us at 650-485-DEAD. That's 650-485-3323.
You can email us at brainswalkingdeadcast.com.
You can check out our website and leave comments at walkingdeadcast.com.
We're also on Twitter at Jason Karen and on Facebook at facebook.com/deadcast.
All right, that's our show.
Thanks for listening. Don't get
And shoot your friend in the head if you don't shoot it at all.
Shot people.